Welcome. This is App of the Week. Today we are actually building an app for a client that is a YouTube creator, and what they want to do is they have a YouTube channel where they upload Q&A style questions, and what they want is a kind of automation to automate the generation of those questions in a particular format that they can use in their YouTube videos. So if you can see up on the screen, I have kind of attached what the Q&A kind of looks like within a video. And right now the process is kind of cumbersome. Even when you use AI, you can generate the questions using ChatGPT, but to have them actually put in the video, you need them in a specific ratio. You need them formatted in a way that they look good, they are centered, they are kind of well formatted to be in a YouTube video. So they are clear, and the bolds and the symbols and everything is correctly applied to all questions. And currently they have a problem of doing this manually, each question by question, and it takes hours to do even one video. So we are getting this project to kind of automate that process. So there is no app or no pre-built automation that currently exists for this. So we're going to be building a totally custom automation and a web app with the Next.js framework for this. And just when I got this project, I started talking to ChatGPT about how we can execute it. So here you can see my whole chat kind of discussing what kind of different routes we can take for the development. And now, if you're in following me, or if you have been building apps with Cursor, or if you are a software developer, you know that the first important thing in the process is to have a PRD, a product requirement document, which kind of states in detail what we are developing, the kind of user stories which specify the use of that product, different use cases, different edge cases, as well as the technical stack and the whole development process kind of divided up in phases of how this development process would go. So that product requirement document I've been kind of talking to ChatGPT to develop, and I have kind of, I think we have a final version of it that will work. So if you're new to this, that's the way to go. If you're starting a project, don't just start Cursor and just start giving it commands right away. You need to give it a structured instructions file first. So we have kind of finalized on this one. I'm going to show you. It's pretty long. So right here. So it states like everything about this project in detail, what it's about, what are the objectives, what the success criteria would look like, the technical stack. We're using Next.js here, and shadcn for our UI and all that, what the different libraries and packages we are going to use. And it has the user stories, the development plan, all that. And it also has a project structure, which is pretty important as well. It keeps the development process. It gives the agent kind of context on how we are kind of aiming for the whole project structure to look like. And then the acceptance criteria. So now, after you have the PRD done for your own project, what you want to do is you want to copy this here in Markdown format. And you want to copy it in a Markdown file. So I have my cursor open here. I just paste it in there and save it. So this is my instructions.md file. Now we're going to use this file throughout our development process. We're going to reference this to our cursor agent, so it knows at all time what we are developing, what phase we are at, and kind of even if it kind of gets lost, this will help it get back on track. So it's very important to have a PRD. Anyway, I'm just starting the development process right now. So, after you have this file, I kind of like to initialize these projects with the shadcn. So I just gave this command. I'll just put it side by side. So how I do it. And right here. So I have my terminal open right here, and I will go to shadcn, and you can go to docs right here, and then click on installation. Under the installation part, you can click on Next.js, and you'll find the command right here. So this is to initialize the Next.js project structure. So it will create a whole directory if you initialize it, and here we have done it. Now be very careful what location you are in during this process. So I'm currently in this folder, so this is where it's going to create that folder, right? So after you have created that Next.js project structure, the most important thing now is to kind of go inside that folder and open your cursor in there. So we're going to do that. Open folder, and you can also do it through cursor command line, but I don't have that installed right now. So there is our project, and save, and that's it. So now we have the cursor open within that project structure we kind of created just now. And the next process would be to move the instructions markdown file within this folder as well, so that we can have everything kind of together. Alright, so we are moving this into our project, the instructions file right here. And now you can start the composer and start the development process. So composer, if you know, it's control plus N for L for Windows, so control plus L. And we have the instructions file reference already because we have it opened here. And now we're good to go. We're good to start the process. Just make sure over here in the terminal you're always inside the folder, the project folder that you're developing, right? So we are in there, as you can see. Now we can save. Let's start the development process based on this instructions document. I have installed the shadcn. Actually, I haven't installed shadcn, so we're going to do that right now. So let's keep it like that. And for shadcn, the command to install all the components is, you can find it in the docs as well. Yeah, so over here, if you go to components in the shadcn website, and I think it's just this part, and then you can select, let's see, let's try running it. And yeah, it's running. I think you have to now select, okay. So it gives us a selection kind of different components right here. And you can choose, or you can just press A and install all of them. So right now, we are kind of trying to develop this quick, so we are going to install all of them. Then it will kind of go through the process of installation. It will, I think, take a minute or two to... Alright guys, so you can see the components folder has been created, and it's installing all these components right here. So our shadcn components have been installed. You can see all of them listed here. We can kind of toggle that in now. And now we're going to start the development process. So I have opened the composer here. And one important thing is in your PRD, your product requirement document, you should always have the development process kind of divided into phases. And you should always ask whoever is creating this plan for you to include testing in there. So after each development phase, you can run those tests, verify that the development has been completed, so that you don't find out that you have multiple errors after you have finished the whole project. So that is kind of the golden rule of software development, is always have testing at small phases to verify if the development has been done. If it's not, we will fix it, run the tests, fix it, run the tests, until we have everything passing successfully, all the tests are passing, then we move on to the next phase. So that's why I have included it in each and every phase, and I have divided the development plan into phases. So our phase 1 is the project setup and parsing. So it's going to set up the Next.js project, it's going to implement the parsing of the page, and which the project has already been set up, but it's going to understand that once it accesses our folder. So what I'm going to write is, let's start, and I'm just going to copy our phase, this, and we're going to select our agent. So we are right now in the chat we have to move to Composer. So we'll copy this. Composer, we should have agent selected and submit. So now your development process has begun, and you need to oversee everything what it's doing, because it's going to make mistake and you have to kind of correct it and kind of direct it in the correct way of development. So always keep an eye, always verify what it's doing. So we're going to let it run. So our agent has kind of run through the first iteration. It's created some logic about parsing the questions and handle that parsing request, and then it's created a basic UI. So we're going to see it. We're going to run this command and see what it's created so far. So accept all the code and just save it, and then we can run npm.dev. So it's running the command. Now we can open the localhost URL, and it's going to compile it. Let's give it a bit more room. So there you go, that's the basic UI it's created. And we can copy our questions that we finalized with some LLM, and then it will parse them. That's the logic that's been implemented so far. So we're going to test that as well. So during testing of it, we got an error, as you can see, failed to parse questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give all of this to our agent, add to Composer, and then I'm going to ask it, that I got this error. And so please kind of do root cause analysis, find out what the cause is, and then let's implement the fix step by step. And now it's going through that. Alright guys, so our first phase is complete. As you can see on the right, I have the UI open. So it's taking in the questions in a raw format, and it's parsing them in kind of a formatted format. It's separating the questions and the answer and the rationale. So the creator kind of needs them separate in different images file, so they can put them in their YouTube video, at one page each time, and they can talk about it. So we have separated them, we have parsed them according to first phase, and now we are moving ahead to implementing phase 2, which the agent is currently working on. So that's how you kind of go ahead and go about software development if you're new to this. Phase by phase, keep testing it so you can catch where it's breaking in case it breaks, which it will break if you're developing something good. Anyway, so I'm going to let it run, and we will be back once we have phase 2 complete. Alright guys, so we are still in the middle of development of this tool. I am still experimenting with it, and you can see it on the right hand side right now, and I'm really enjoying the development process, the way it has kind of come together. And I can see how this will be able to get them to do their tasks much more quickly, and kind of edit these questions, format them very quickly for their YouTube videos. They can kind of finish that video up quickly, right? So here we have kind of parsed all these questions in a group, and now it's displaying each question in the kind of middle of the screen like it would look in a YouTube video. So within a 16:9 ratio, kind of a window. And you have easy controls here to move everything around. You don't have to worry about, Microsoft Word's weird formatting where you have to kind of worry about spacing and all that. So you can just change the font with the slider, change the font of the answers as well, and change the color and everything as you want. And yeah, once you have everything finalized, so I've given them a lot of control, like alignment and all for each of their things. So you can also bolden and these basic text editing tools, and basic color changing as well for each of the kind of the text. And then once they have kind of settled on this style, so say they like, okay, they might like to format it like this, right? Just and a bunch of fonts as well. So say that's their style, okay? So then they can just lock this, and then they move on to the next one, and then they kind of, this is the kind of the answer slide for this question. So then they do the same thing with this. They kind of lock everything in place. I think they choose different colors for different things. So for the correct answer, they want to maybe go with green. So right, like that. Maybe they want it to be centered, and then the rationale or something should be in like a different color. like that, and they choose it, and maybe center that as well. There you go. And they can make this bold. There you go. So they finalize it, they lock it, and then they move to the next one. And that's how they kind of do with each one until they're satisfied. It's very fast editing. Before we were kind of thinking, we will just edit one question and it would kind of communicate and copy the style to each one. But that was giving us sometimes not so predictable results, because some questions are different in length and they wouldn't all kind of look the same. So I talked to this creator and they kind of wanted maybe individual editing. So this will help us with that. And we're just now doing this for all of them. So this took me like, I think 30 seconds to edit one. So it should take them maybe, if they're editing like 50 of them, and if it's like 30 seconds per question, so it should take them around not even 20 minutes to edit all of them. So they told me before it was taking them like maybe a couple of hours. Alright guys, so we actually made a major improvement in this using AI. So what we did was, we actually gave this creator an option now. So they just have to edit one question and one answer. So like I did now, I manually edited it very quickly using the help of all these buttons. Then I have an option to apply this style to all questions. So I click on this, and then I move on to this, which is the answer and rationale slide that we edited to our preference. Now we kind of want to, all of slides to copy this style, and some of them which won't be able to kind of look good with this style, we will manually edit, right? So to do that, we'll just click apply to all answers button. And now let's have a look at the other questions. So that's the question with the style applied. And if you want to now move it around, you can kind of do that to suit your needs. If you don't think it looks good, then you can manually edit it quickly. And the next one, and see, it has copied the style, the centering, and the text side of that question to this as well. So we don't need to edit anything here. And here the question looks perfect too. We might want to edit the font size a little bit to have it maybe centered. And there you go, that looks good. Next, and it has copied the style as well. So that will save this creator even like, I think it will divide their time of doing this by, I think, a third, because they will only have to edit a bunch of questions that do not actually look good with just one style. So example would be some of the question might be really long, or the options are really long. So they might need to manually adjust those, but for I think 80% it would just copy the style and would be good. So this is a massive kind of improvement, and I'm just really happy with how it's kind of coming together. Alright guys, so we have kind of finished up the whole functionality implementation. Right now I have given it a prompt, a very detailed prompt to kind of polish the UI a little bit so we can make it look a bit more nicer, but we don't want to spend much more time on it. At the end of the day, it is a functional app which might be used by 2-3 people, these YouTube creators for the channel. So it's not going to be out to the world. It doesn't need to look super good. You just need to be easy on the eye, still look good, have a good layout and all that. So that's what we kind of told it in this prompt, and it's kind of working through now. It's kind of break something, build some something up as well within the process. So we have here, you see, we have to implement a bunch of new packages while developing it and fixing and kind of making this UI a bit more polished, a bit more easy on the eye, a bit more fun to interact with. So I'll be back with the results, what we kind of finish with, and I'll show you the finished product in action. You can actually see it building it in real time. See like how improved this is from the previous one. It added a little bit of a stethoscope here, and yeah, so that's all you have to do is just ask it very kind of specifically what you need it to do, and it does it very well. So it's still working through, and we will come back with the final result. Alright guys, so just want to show you kind of the final UI, how it looks like. So we kept it pretty simple. I kind of improved it in all kind of the locations of our application. And now I'm going to show you a quick demo of how the whole workflow is supposed to work and how our app really saves a lot of time for this creator. So what they do currently, as I told you, they research and find out some questions from ChatGPT for their mock tests. So suppose they find out like a lot of questions, they told ChatGPT to give them in a list, right? Then what are they going to do? They're just going to copy them, and they're just going to go to our app and click on this button right here. Then we run a large language model API inference, which will separate the questions, the answers, and rationalities into separate components, which can then be used by our editor that will show up in the next page to edit them individually and kind of change them according to how the creator wants within the slides, and then they can just download them all at once. So here you go. So it has separated all those questions, kind of formatted them. So to edit it, you just, with these arrows, move the question part around. With this, you just move this options around, and you just align however they want. They can increase the size, so this looks good. And they can, maybe they want a different font, they can make this bold. And once they like this style, right? They like this style, right? So right now, we can click on this apply to all slides button, and this will apply the style to all the other questions. The same thing when they move on to the next one, this will be the correct answer and the rationale for that question, right? They want to explain how and why this question is correct. So they're a teacher, kind of the teacher niche kind of YouTube channel. So again, the same thing, you kind of change the font around, you move it to the center, you align it whatever you want, right? Align it to the center, align it to the center. You want to increase the font. Maybe you want this bold, you want this to be a green maybe or whatever, and you want this to be red, right? I'm sorry, that was center, right? And suppose they kind of figured out, okay, this is what I want it to be, and maybe a little bit up, a little bit. Okay, so maybe they choose this one, right? Just for an example, it looks ugly, but yeah. So what they're going to do is apply to all slides. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to click lock. We are locking this style, lock, and now let's see. So next one, the same style has been applied. We like it, lock. If we don't like it, we can unlock and just move it a little bit around, lock. Next one, looks good, lock. Again, maybe move it a little bit around, or if it looks good, looks good. Maybe you want to move it a little bit here, lock. Next one, again, looks good, lock. And that's all the questions locked, I think. I think we have one more. So again, do this lock. So however many they want to do, see how quick this is. And that's it. Lock. I think we parsed a bit too many questions. So I think we parsed all the questions, right? So lock, and there you go. So once you have locked all the styles and all the questions, then you get this button, and you click on this button, and it runs through, locks that style. And if you see, once it does that, it will download all these in one file. So there you go. And here you go. So you have image files of each of the slides with the style you chose. I think it took me like a minute and a half. And then they can just use these in their YouTube videos, in their editor. And it saves them. I think it will save them like it will reduce the time it took for editing by, I think, 80%, which is incredible. So I'm going to maybe share with you an update of the final. So just want to share the final version with you. So we finally made a few changes. We gave the client, whoever is using this, the option to use their own API key. We added this little slide button here. Right now it's not deployed, I guess, but I will just quickly deploy it and show you that. Alright guys, so this is how it looks like, and over here in this little settings button, if you go in there, you can add your own API key, and then your own API account will be charged how much you use it. And yeah, that's about it. So that's completely done now. We don't need authentication for it because only some people are going to be using it, and they can just put their own API keys. And other than that, the functionality is still the same. And what we're also doing is we're actually deploying it instead of actually locally running it. So if any of you are not familiar with deployment, how to deploy these onto the web, it's super easy now with the tools like Vercel. So we're using Vercel here. If you are not aware of what it is, just go ahead to their website right here and log in, make an account. You will have to connect your GitHub repository to it. So after I pushed my code to GitHub, I just imported my repository here and went to the deploying process. This is how it looks like currently. So we are currently in the process of deploying it. We got some errors, but we're going to fix these and we're going to get the deployment done. I'm going to show you how it looks like. Alright guys, so we just, you can just copy these errors. As you see, we got 26 errors right here. We gave Cursor the log. We explained to it what is happening, what I think is happening. And now it's kind of going step by step through the errors, trying to figure out in the code what the issue was. And let's see, we'll try the deployment again and hopefully it works. Otherwise we keep going until it works. Alright guys, so finally we have deployed the app. It's finished and it's ready to be delivered to our client. I just want to show it to you finally here on Vercel. You can see it's been successfully deployed. The environment is production, so it's live on the internet right now. It's been 1 minute 12 seconds, and yeah, so that's the whole process that took for deployment. And if you go on this URL right now, we can kind of see it live. So right here. So yeah, successfully we have completed this project. And we're going to now send this over to our client, which I'm currently doing right now over at. And yeah, just wanted to show you a whole project build of a real great kind of a full stack application from concept all the way to deployment. Now, of course, we didn't have to implement a database or authentication in there, but it's not that complex. I know if you wanted to, you can integrate Supabase easily in there for authentication and database as well, but this app did not need that. Maybe it will in the future. They want a database or collect all the questions in there, but we were able to build this, go through the whole process of creating a product requirement document, and then step by step build it, kind of go through the errors, fix them, and then I hope I was able to show you how to kind of break it down step by step and then build it, and that's is kind of the best practice to build these custom applications. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope you were able to learn something from this, and I did. I learned a lot, and it was a fun project to do, and this creator I'm sure is going to be very happy with it. We might have to revise a couple of things based on their feedback, but that is like 15-20 minute job if they need it. But anyway, if you learned something, if you are also learning to build with AI, feel free to subscribe. I make a couple of videos every week creating this custom real-world application for our clients, or just something fun and something creative that I can't find in the world currently built, which is pretty hard. But anyway, so if you like these projects, feel free to like and feel free to let me know in the comments what you are building currently, and if you got some value out of it. Stay tuned, there's more coming. And just want to share, if you want to work with me to build a custom app, custom software, custom AI agent for yourself, feel free to check the link out in the description to book a free consultation with me. I love to work on creative projects, specialized custom projects that can help people and businesses to really improve their day-to-day lives, their business processes. So if you're one of those guys, feel free to check it out. Check the link to my agency. And if you like it, feel free to book a consultation. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching, and